Hey, well, welcome. Welcome to another episode of Rocky Off the Rails. I'm JJ, and let's see. It is Saturday, July 26th. It's the last Saturday of the month, but I'm breaking tradition here. We're not running trains today. Maybe we'll run trains next weekend. The reason is I had an idea to show some of the things I use for um, lighting my layout, and some of these things might be useful to some of you. Okay, so let's go around and see who's made it to the show today. We got Dwight Curly Express, the first one I see in the chat. Kevin Brown, welcome. Bug on my computer. Brother Dan in Ohio. Kevin Brown again. Dan Curly Express. Pete Motley in Oregon. And JP down south in Southern California. And Brad from Willow Creek Industrial Spur. Welcome. Welcome at so early in the morning in New Zealand. Thanks for joining us. And as usual, I believe Mom is watching. So hi, Mom. Yeah, I think it's one of the railroad things. Most railroads don't have their family watching, but I'll take what I can get. Definitely, it's great for Mom to be able to see me talking about silly things. Okay, so what do we got going on this week? I had a couple things come in to support this show for lighting, although so let me get us over to the overhead view here. And one of the things, if you want to light your layout, you need some lights. So these are some light strings that I picked up off of Amazon. They're called Govee, Govee. And this particular one comes with two strands. I think they are 16 feet each. And I got them in the white, daylight white. So they're kind of a bright white. I'm not going to use this today, but you see they actually have a little plug-in connector here that plugs into a power adapter that also has this power adapter here. So that's great, but this power adapter has an output of 12 volts. Let's see. Yep, 12 volts and 3 amps. So I just don't like having a lot of wall warts on my layout. And Wesley joined us. Thanks for joining the show, Wesley. So I don't like that. So what do I do instead when we don't want that? Well, we can make our own power supply. Ta-da! So this was the older, I've got another one of these on the layout right now. It's a 450 watt power supply. This is a 350 watt power supply. I've had it for many years now. This was the first one that I used. And you can see out on the back here. Let's see if I'll unplug this cord. And I don't think we can read that. I can read it, but it gives you all the DC voltages. We've got 3.3 volts. We have 5 volts, 13 amps supplied there. There's 16 amps supplied in the 3.3. So between the two of these, that's 90 watts taken up. So of this 350 watts, what I want access to is the 12 volts. So there's 312 watts output possible there. Yeah, I hear you, JP. But having built my own computers and being what I think sometimes is somewhat handy with electronics, although I'm not an expert in the field, I get by. This is a challenge, and I've also watched several other people, including who was the first one that I really saw that did this was Central Jersey Conrail. I think Joe. He's no longer streaming. Occasionally, he posts on Facebook, but yeah, he stopped streaming a while ago after he completed most of his layout. But okay, be that as it may, this plugs in with a standard power supply cord, of which unfortunately I could not find mine, so I had to buy a new one. Someday, so I know I'm going to find a stash of other ones that I didn't get rid of. But years ago, I went through and I got rid of a whole bunch of cords. Whole bunch of cords. So, anyways, let's get on with it here. So that's the power supply. It comes with this. Some of the outputs are accessible via this connector here. This usually connects into your computer's motherboard. So if you have like a tower or a mini tower or something like that, this is pretty standard. It does have, so this is how old this is. It allowed for a different size um, of motherboard connector there. So there was extra 4 pins at the end here that got added when the standard changed. Now here's another handy thing by Electric Salon, and I think I've showed this before. This is a breakout board. As many of you know, I love breakout boards. Why? Because then I don't have to solder. But this just snaps into there and locks in there. So now we've got access to all those pins via screw terminals. Okay? And they're conveniently labeled. So, all those things I went through before, the 3.3 volts all on. And as well as there is a way to externally add your power switch and power indicator here, which I've done on my power supply cabinet. And I might do this again for this project once I get, yeah, I'm going to have another control board for this. But not today. But what I have taken is I've taken a 12 volt plus 12 volt and a common is output via this connector here. And what I've done is I've actually hooked that up to a little power thing. Looks like the same end of your power supply. We'll just snap that in there. So let's turn this on and wait for blue smoke. Nope. Now the fan isn't running yet because says this red light here indicates standby. If we push this push button here, now it's okay. So those signals are actually accessible from the breakout board as well. We're not going to cover that today, but yeah, so that's all there. And now the power supply fan is running here. Yeah, so this breakout board makes it a heck of a lot easier to deal with. So what's the next thing on the agenda? Well, so I want to have the ability to measure the voltages. So I happen to have, let's switch. There are these voltage indicators over here. But let me switch a camera view. And of course, this camera has gone on the fritz today. It fell down and then it doesn't want to. Maybe we can't do that. Well, let's try it. Not really sure what's going on with this camera. Bear with me. Yeah, this camera, even though it says it's green. Okay, we won't be able to do that. So let's move that camera out of the way. And while I'm at it, I forgot our friend has not made his appearance. There we go. Rocky is in the building. Okay. Okay, so there we go. There we go. We'll just have the overhead view today. And I'll deal with that. Okay. Looks like I'm going to get another camera soon. It's been around for a long time. Anyways, yes, Rocky is here. Lay him down on the power supply. You can take care of that. But I want to first turn that output off. And I'm going to hook up my output meters. I'm also going to do another thing here because I have it. Over here on the other side here, I'm going to access a plus 5 volts. And a common here. And I'm going to put on this handy dandy little readout here. Hopefully this doesn't overpower the picture. Saying 21 right now. What's 21 mean? Well, that is in Celsius. So 21 is right around 70, I believe. If my math does me okay. 21C is just under 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so that's a handy thing to have. And to see that it actually does measure this, I'm going to take this and squeeze this little end between my fingers. And we see that it is going up. Because your body is normally 96 to 97 degrees Celsius. So this won't be perfect, but yep. So it did go up to 29, 28. So if we just let this cool down in the fan, that's just a handy thing to have. Just figure out, hey, are my electronics getting too hot? And it's handy if you've got it enclosed, an enclosure. You want to keep an enclosure with these electronics well ventilated. So on my other control panel, I have two fans, the larger size fans that move air in and out of all the electronics bay. Hey, Steve 87, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us on this fine overcast Saturday. Let's see what else we have here. The 12.12 rail, the 12 volt rail is giving us 11.9 volts. And because we have no load connected, the red indicator is 0 amps. So let's do something about that. So I've got an output just like a regular power output. So this is 12 volts. And I've got a lot of amps behind this because we've got up to 300 watts. Now, what I will do when I officially do this, I'll make all these things go through a some kind of I'll put in circuit breaker, or I'll put in, most likely I won't put a circuit breaker in, but I'll put in a fuse. But not today. We won't have to do that. There is that kind of protection for that inside of your power supply. It will just temporarily turn itself off. And I've had that happen before. Okay, what did I just add here? I picked up these little buttons, these dimmer buttons. So they've got 4 wires. They've got an input side, which hooks up to 12 volts. And they've got an output side, which will hook up to our lights. Now over here, let's go and transition to view. And I'll show you what I'm going to do. Okay, here's my string of lights right here. And of course, they all get tangled up. These are not, these have a sticky back on them, which you can peel off, some 3M thing. And I've cut them. And what do you do when you cut your string? So, little known fact, I'll call out to Pete, because I've seen this on his layout and he hasn't done it. But you can actually cut these at places where it's marked with a black line here. And there's copper connectors there, copper pads. You cut right in the middle of those, and all of a sudden you can make a new string of lights. So how do you do that? Well, you can buy these things. These things slide on, and they come in multiple different things. They slide on, and they have 2 things that connect with the pads, and then you snap it shut. And then you get an in like this. So kind of cool. That means that you can cut these things to your liking, and you can use this even for home lighting as well. In fact, these are made for home lighting. Now there's another one here. This has 2 of them. The only thing you need to worry about, you need to make sure, and it's clearly marked, there's a plus and a minus sign. You can't see that probably on the camera, but the red is plus and the black is minus. And then on the tape where these things are, where we cut these, those pads are clearly marked. So you want to make sure that those are correctly lined up. You also have this, you can also buy these things here. I may even went over this in my connectors show before. There's like a T-junction. And here's just a straight pass through if you want tape to tape. And then there's, I think I might have used all mine, but there's a 90 degree in here somewhere too. There's a 90 degree. So there's a bunch of different things that are out there for doing lighting with these strips. So what do we got? We got a way to cut the wire. So I've cut these things. I took from one of these 16-foot lengths and I cut off that. Now I wouldn't have to. I could cut the wire here and strip it and do that. Any angle connectors. Can I get any angle connectors? Probably not, but you could do it with this. Here, here's a flexible any angle right here. you just have a little bit of wire in between the two, and it's got one on each end. So there you go, JP. So let's get to it. I mean, we want to see a light show, right? So I'll take this end here. Let's go and transition. Yeah, we'll keep that on there. I'm going to plug that in. And now, ta-da! Lights. We have lights. And also, one of the nice things about this is if you long press on this, it actually will dim down or dim up. Or you can turn it off with a short press. And it remembers the setting. So you can have a lot of light, or you can take it back down. And the interesting thing is, this is interesting to me. Oops. Oh, it's off. Okay. It's on again. Let's go to the overhead. And it's pulling almost no amps right now. It is so low, it's not even measurable here. So let's take it up a little bit. Now it's running 0.04 of an amp. And the voltage is holding fairly steady, 11.8. And if we take it all the way up to max for this string, I will be super bright. And that's running 0.5 amp at 11.4 volts. So, we're pulling what, 5 watts off of the 300 or more that I have here. So, that's kind of a nice thing to have. So you can see now this isn't 16 foot long here. So this is a reduced setting. Let's temper it. You're not supposed to do this. Well, I think we can do it temporarily. So I'm going to temporarily plug in these two strings. So this is 32 foot of lighting. And I just want to see. And I'm going to max it out. So at 32 feet, we're pulling 1.8 amps at around 10 and 11 volts. So, and if we dim those down, we can dim that with this device here. Also has a plus and minus on it, and we could go anywhere from 0.5 amp to 0.14 of an amp. But that's putting out less light. Now you're not supposed to. Actually says in the instructions, do not connect to the power while they're in here. Why? Because they could probably get, even though they're LEDs, they could still get warm. Anyways, that's good to know. So we got 32 feet of light is going to pull 1.5 amps. 1.5 times 12, we get 18 watts. So we could power for 300 watts here. We can power a lot of lights. I could probably power all the strip lighting on my layout with this one power supply. And to tell you the truth, that's my objective. So I can go from having how many ever of these wall warts down to just this one here? Now, in my room, I have 3 light switches in the room. There are 2 overhead lights, for which one of which was in a kind of an alcove, which I've taken and replaced that overhead light with a. I've taken out the fixture and mounted a 2 receptacle plug, and it's surface mounted there. It's up out of the way. You won't really notice it. I'm also intending to put some track lighting, probably powered from up there as well. That will still be well within the range. It's only 1 light switch there. So that light switch will take care of all the lighting on my layout, because it will hook up by an extension cord to this power supply. So I'll have, of the 3 light switches, one controls the lower. Is it the lower or the upper? I keep forgetting. But it controls the lower outlets. And in the US, this is how they often do these, that some of the light switches, or many of them in the room, the lower part will be governed by a light switch. So you can do floor lighting. And I have that in this game room here. So this game room, I have this. In fact, I can't really swivel the camera around, and you know that the other camera that I had is gone dead. But I have the lights above me. I bought a fixture. It turns out that the fixture was relatively dim. So I put 2 strands of strip lights on it on a board, and I was able to mount that and put a separate power supply for it. And it actually provides most of the light you see right now above me is from that. I have not only direct but indirect lighting, so I've got it shined back up against the ceiling and it coming back down. And I took a piece of wood that's been following me around since the days after I left the university. And so it's reached its final orientation as part of a light fixture. Which is kind of cool. Hey, Hot Dog Pilot Andy, thanks for joining the show. We were talking about lighting on layouts. And most of this has to do, I think, with, it's most applicable, I think, to layouts that have multiple levels, only because, well, these lights here are fairly nice. Well, one annoyance about this is they can become delaminated, because you fix this usually to wood on the other side, and just after time the 3M stuff just gets unsticky. But you can get a roll of more 3M tape and restick it, especially if you've pulled this stuff off and put it back on again. Anyways, these lights I find these are really handy to have. Another interesting thing you can do this with, another aspect of lighting, is lighting your kits. So because you can cut this off at this thing and you get 3 LEDs out of that. Now, I suppose you could try cutting. You don't want to do too much, because I think it's got a built-in resistor there for each part. Anyways, you can get a little thing that's only about 1.5 inches or probably 3 centimeters, 3 or 4 centimeters long. And you can put lighting in there, and because it's dimmable, you can actually control that. Now, the other thing is that you can get these in different color outputs. So I have these all as white, but I do have the more yellowing ones that you might say is a little bit more uh, warm. I think they call that. Yep. So I don't care for the valence over the layout. Yeah. Yeah. Um, to each his own. I think there's a lot of different sources for these things, but I've found that this is the easiest, and this is how. If you see the lights that I have, yeah, you can get diffusers. In fact, I probably should put some diffusers, or I need to. I'm actually going to probably actually going to probably. I think I'm going to change the lighting for that uppermost level that's going to shine down onto level 3. Right now, it's shining all the way down onto the staging yard. But of course, once I get level 2 in there, um, underneath level 2, there'll be light strips to light the staging. And because that is wide, I will probably put in more than on each side. There's a 2 feet side. There'll probably be for that 4 foot distance. I'll probably have 4 strings there. So that's a to be done task since I don't have that in there today. So let's run around and let's see. We've got 14 people watching. Thanks for watching. I'll say it. I'm not become jaded about this yet, but please like and subscribe. As my brother pointed out, we have 449 subscribers right now. And as of today, I think the locomotive prize for Brad is in New Zealand. I don't know if it's going to make it to his house today or not. I don't know if they do. Let's see, it's Sunday there. So maybe not. I don't know how New Zealand Post works. But we know that it was in Auckland, which is not on the right island. It's on the North Island, and Brad lives on the other one, if my memory serves me correct. So that's there. JP has said he has used his tape already. Windsor Valley Railroad. Liz is not here on the show today, as far as I know. Last I checked, that had not reached her home, but is probably there by now. They were having some delays of delivery down in the area of the country where she lives. Pete was the first one to get his prize, and the other Andy Henley in around where is he living? Nottingham, around Nottingham, UK. I got him an alternative prize. And then finally, Steve, if you're watching this show afterwards, Steve, getting on track, your prize is at Gelsma Graphics. They are setting to have that done by a week and a half or 2 weeks from now, I think, August 8th, and then they'll ship it. So at least that's what it says on the invoice that they sent to me. So it's not instantaneous, but they're doing custom embroidery work, and it's a one-off. So, all right. It's finally, yeah, he told me that. It must be going quite slow because that was the update from last week. Pete's 4444 4449 had a mishap and ended up needing repairs. At the time, he couldn't find the box, so I loaned him my box, and he sent it back to Kato, and they fixed it and charged him a Benjamin. You know what I mean? And then now it's coming back, so it'll be great that he has that on his layout, and maybe it can make an appearance in the Roy Smith Memorial Yard dedication. That is just not too far off in the distance, I think. I don't know. It depends on how aggressive he gets about reconfiguring his layout. But at least I think that point is going to get finished out. But Pete can speak for himself. And you can go visit Pete's layout if you don't mind his dogs in his house. But you don't have to go through his house to get to his layout. It's a great location he's got there for having running trains in a shed in the backyard. It's very UK like. For the other Andys that are on the show that have train sheds, very similar setup. Let's see. Jeff, Train World, HONN, and O Gauge. My layout is a mess. I'd say this. Whose layout is not a mess? Please raise your hand. If you're in the middle of construction, which oftentimes for model railroaders is that's always yes. You're always changing something. But then what happens? Inevitably, you have a shortage of what? Horizontal storage space. You can never have enough shelves, so guess what happens? The layout, sub roadbed, and sometimes even the layout itself gets over inundated with stuff. Okay. So let's see. Okay. We'll let everybody go check out Jeff's Train World. Can you start over now? I can hear you now. Where do you want? Start over from where? Are we starting over from the beginning? Incidentally, I think a lot of this lighting stuff probably does not apply to you, Dwight. Your layout has overhead lighting from the room. Yes, lots of sheds and attics, and even what's that huge one train where that guy has the entire upstairs taken over? Travel through time or something. Anyways, yeah, he's got everything automated. It's an impressive layout. Yep. Shop light hanging over the layout, perfectly acceptable. Anything that shines light down on there is great. Jeff says, I love building the layout. There's so many people who have helped me out. It's incredible. It's great to share in person. However, when that's not possible, for example, my inspiration for starting this show, Roy Smith's channel, I mean, he was down in Panama, and there's really nobody down there that he knew of that was doing trains. So yeah, Jeff's Train World, I lay out. Let's go back here. My layout is 11 by 12 feet. It's about the size of mine. I think mine is in an oddly shaped room that has like 19 feet in one direction and 16 feet or 10 feet in the other direction. Um, it makes an odd shape. I have friends who want to help, but I'm reluctant. Well, there is the other side of that, right? It's like uh if you want something done right, do it yourself. But even then, if you're not an expert in that area, it might not get done right. So great question, Steve. They're still getting trains in. It's definitely not the same vibe without Steve there. When I go in and people have questions, I tried to help a guy and his young son out. They said they had some O gauge track. They didn't even actually know what it was, but they described it. And the older guy there, who's he was a pilot for United Airlines for a long time, and I do think his name is Steve as well. Anyways, um, he tried to help him, but then I've got some experience as a child with Lionel. They've since changed the track. The track now has more robust pins for that fast track. So yeah, I would love it if the train magazines would post my train layout and I could tell them the pros and cons about N-gauge layout. Well, yeah, I don't know how to reach out to them, but definitely you get some notice by probably belonging to local organizations like NMRA. The other thing I think is they don't just come to your house. A lot of times, I think people submit articles. Actually, I don't really know how like Model Railroader gets um, input um, and gets those stories written up. My guess is you probably send in photos of your layouts or something, and then they decide if they're going to run a feature your layout. Certainly wouldn't feature my layout. There's no scenery. Yeah, this is Steve's. This is right on. Pro for N-gauge, it's small. Con for N-gauge, it's small. Pro for N-gauge, it's still larger than some other much smaller gauges. There you have it. They've got some outrageously small gauges now, and Z is not the smallest, which is crazy. I think totally crazy. Yep. Long trains near chest level in N scale. My goal is you won't be able to see the entire train in any single scene. The real thing. Easily achievable, actually, in any scale. Unfortunately, because it's scaled down. Yeah, you won't be able to see the entire train length there. Cool. My buildings are hard to, yeah, it's harder to do in N scale. And it's harder to do with your eyes. Even with good eyesight, N scale is still challenging. And so oftentimes you want to get some of those goggles or a visor, like a, what do they call them? The jeweler visors with some close up for doing close up work. In fact, one of the guys that I follow, Ken Patterson, his thing is he's got two sets of glasses on his head all the time. Yep, Magnavisor. That's it. So about 45 minutes in. I think it's about time we can talk about what's next week. Well, this week was different, right? Next week is bonus because we won't be, even though it's the first Saturday of the month, we won't be running layout photos and having the after photos show. That will come on August 9th, will be the layout photos show. And on August 2nd, since it's a bonus Saturday, I'm still undecided. It's either going to be running trains where I will feature my new mini car military train. I now have 10 Abrams tanks. I've got 7 Bradleys. I've got 9 Humvees and 2 Dragon carriers and a bulldozer thrown in there. Now, I'm not sure the bulldozer is going to stay on because its blade is extra wide and tends to catch things as it goes around the layout. Some of my number plates for the turnouts have been known to take the bulldozer off of the car. Yeah. There's actually a lot of people who just want to see things running. So, yeah, that's something where I need to focus on getting another camera or two since this one I think is giving up the ghost. By next weekend's show, I will have my replacement laptop as well. I got an upgraded one and it's a new one. So hopefully it'll last me the next 5 years like this one did. Amazingly so, the trade-in value for this laptop is so dismally low. So, anyways, Dwight says, yeah, it's almost noon in Illinois where he's at. This is a common occurrence for me, Dwight. Usually happens on Sunday where I tune into your show at 11 o'clock my time, and I haven't done anything as well. MSI laptop. No, it's I'm a Mac guy. I'm an Apple guy. I have been, well, since I gave up my Commodore 64. I briefly had Windows stuff for the in-between period of my life, but now I do Mac at both work and home. And I've been doing Macs for over 10 years, almost 12 years. Then I switched back to Macs. In fact, I rebought my first Mac laptop in 2013 when I joined Microsoft of all places. And you wouldn't believe I got a lot of grief from that. Oh, you've got a Mac? You've got a Mac? Okay, so for those of you that don't know, I think everybody here knows Dwight's got his show. His stream is at 11 a.m. my time, Pacific time, 1 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Before that, earlier in the morning, at let's go West Coast time, 8 a.m. West Coast time, U.S. Hot Dog Pilot Andy has his show streaming. A little bit too early in the morning for me to catch live. Also a great one, and usually Andy's got trains running on his show. I do, and I will have a dedicated Mac Mini running JMRI in the future. Pretty much overkill though. You can actually do those run a Raspberry Pi to do JMRI, and it's probably very sufficient to do that. I do have one of those laying around. I'll probably buy a new one, and it only costs you like a Raspberry Pi costs you very little. That's a little tiny computer for those that don't know. What's Steve87 say? Also, are you doing track program? Yes, I'm doing track program on my Mac. I use one that's called Rail Modeler Pro. If you want to use anything else, you need to use like a virtual program that allows you to run Windows software on your Mac. Parallels is one of the names. So you can run like any track, which is, there's a free version of any track. Andy's show is 5 a.m. Pacific time for us. Yeah, I think Andy's right, and I think Dwight is not right. I think it is 8 a.m. Eastern. I think there's a brief period where it switches, so it's either 9 or 7. But yeah, if you're up at that time, and I've only rarely been up at that time. Yeah, Dwight. Oh yeah, Dwight is Central. That's my mistake. Yep, 7 a.m. for Dwight. I'm not. He's not wrong. I was wrong. Okay, which happens quite a lot. Okay. Well, we've reached what I think is the useful end to this show. And we'll go back over and see if Rocky agrees. Looks like he's already sleeping. He is so bored. So be sure to tune in next week where we will run trains or play a game. I'm not sure yet which one. And 2 weeks, lay out photos. So if you are a person that posts photos on Roy Smith's Evanston N-Scale, Union Pacific, Evanston Subdivision Facebook group. Well, it's always a challenge to get that out. Post your photos over there. I saw that JP has posted his photos over there. Is there anybody else on the show that would do that? I don't see anybody that normally posts on there except for JP, occasionally myself, and Pete. Pete, don't forget. Don't forget this time. So, and I need to get pictures. Maybe I'll get some stills of my military train. I think that's great. See progress photos. I'd like to, since this show is, or people post those over time, it's really cool to actually see a layout evolve. In fact, that is one thing that I miss about Central Jersey Conrail's Joe's layout. He posted from like the very beginning. He had the channel. Do I have stickers to pass out for my show? No. Maybe I should make stickers. Maybe I should make stickers. But no, I don't have stickers. Hey, that would be cool. That would be cool. That's quite a while ago, isn't it? Now, some of us might not think so, but yeah, 2014 was 11 years ago. For your channel, I have some. For my channel? You have some stickers for my channel, Dwight? Okay. You can email me. I think you still have that. Okay. There you have it. I think we've wrapped up another fine, almost hour-long session here. Today, again, we went over lighting, how you might add lighting to your layout with strip lighting. And also, we go back and I move Rocky out of the way using a power supply. Off the shelf, you can pick these up for like a few bucks. In fact, you can probably pick up used ones for even more so. Or if you have an old computer that's gone kaput, and the power supply is still good, still use that. Pete, that would also be cool. I have some old photos of the layout that I had in the garage before I had this one. Somewhere. Okay. Yeah. Every old PC has got a power supply in it. But again, I'll say don't attempt this without consulting an expert. Anyways, it's been great having everybody chat for another hour of your valuable time. Thanks everybody for watching. I'm JJ, and Rocky says, yeah, I'll be back. And just for Andy, get to the chopper. Okay, we're going to wrap this one up and call it. And I will see you on the next stream somewhere else. Sidetrack Sunday, Dwight Curley Show, maybe somewhere else. Anyways, take care. It's been great. And we'll see you the next time. Bye now.